Well, I wish I was a catfish, swimming deep down in this deep blue sea. Yes, I said I was a catfish, swimming deep down in this deep blue sea. I will have all you pretty women fishing, fishing after me. Fishing after me. Fishing after me. Well, today what I'd like to discuss is merging the ancient with the modern with an eye towards the future. I'd say that most of us who spend any time out there in the garden at times have probably had that connection between the ancestors broadcasting seed onto a field and what we're doing here today. I've had my moments while out hoeing the weeds from sweet corn that I would suddenly find myself thinking that maybe I was an Olmec farmer in ancient Mexico thousands of years ago, performing exactly the same task. So many of the things that we do as human beings are very, very ancient. I'm sure out there there's drummers. Anybody out there who beats on a drum, well, human beings have been doing that for a long time. Blowing on flutes, planting seeds, hunting, fishing. These are all really, really ancient activities. Today's world is highly technological, very mechanized. Most of us are at this point and so far removed from the roots of nature where we actually originated at a point in time that it may even seem as if there is no connection left to nature. Yet, when we engage in activities that are ancient, they somehow strike a chord within us. I don't know if it runs in the genes or what it is, but like I say, if I'm out there with a sack full of grain on my shoulder and I'm throwing out nice, beautiful arcs of seeds and laying them out onto the soil, it brings me back to primitive relatives thousands of years ago who were doing exactly that same thing. These activities ground us. They're essential to us, actually, in the modern world. They become even more important today than they were some decades back. As we gradually move closer and closer into the space age and people talk about colonizing Mars and so on, these ancient activities, they speak to us, I believe, through our genes. There's something inside of us that's waiting to be fulfilled by these activities. And when we divorce ourselves from them and live only in the modern world and no longer perform some of these ancient acts, I believe we become lost. And so that successful living, in my opinion, is the balance between what has been and what may be and what is today. In my life, I've worked fairly hard to attempt to try to bring these things together. This guitar right here, this guitar was made in 1932. The song Catfish Blues that I was playing on it, and it probably comes from somewhere back in the 20s or so. That's an old piece of music. It definitely predates my arrival here. Yet, here I am in front of a video camera in my recording studio. This is all being recorded digitally on ones and zeros. My studio is entirely ones and zeros. These are concepts that were never even dreamt of at the time that this guitar was made. The activity of humans just sitting around playing music, whether it's beating on a drum or whether it's using more modern instruments like the guitar that are only a few hundred years old. These activities answer to something deep within our souls. They preparing food from scratch, harvesting food from the ground, hunting wild mushrooms, collecting berries. These activities ground us. And in a world that sometimes seems like it's just literally out of our control, things happen so fast today. We cannot move into the future, leaving behind and divorcing everything that once was. The past is just important to us as where we are today and where we're going. And we really wish to bring the best things that we've ever learned and ever done along with us. Making clothes from hand, painting, all sorts of different things. Making a pot from clay. Again, ancient activities. Yet, with the technology we have today, well, we're able to go ahead and take this discussion about doing old things and put it on the internet, which is something that's very, very new. And so, happiness, I believe, for modern humans is both mastering the new tools that we have and also being able to use the ancient ones. That when we can bring the two together into a unified whole, so the past, the present, and the future are all directly connected within our own persona, I think is where we find the greatest peace as people, and we become the most productive. But there's an emptiness in a lot of us. We're searching. We search for things in our leaders. We look for things in people who claim to be strong leaders who will tell us what to do and fix our problems, which of course is a complete load of BS, that these people who claim that they can fix the problems in the world are out and out either liars or they're psychopathic, because the problems will persist no matter who is in leadership. Best we can ever do is negotiate with them. And we search for truth in religion. We search for ourselves in love affairs. We search for ourselves in food. There's a whole lot of ways that people attempt to try to fill the emptiness. And modern life, I believe, leaves us even more empty, because what's offered to us is the idea of material goods, for instance, fancier cars, more sex appeal and so on. This is pretty lightweight stuff. It doesn't hold up. You sure as heck can't take it with you. They're temporary things that amuse us, but the amusement runs out. There's no deep satisfaction really in any of them. There's so much to learn today in the modern world. I mean, technology has moved along so fast that many people that I know don't even understand how to use most of this stuff. That seems to be the case. In my age bracket, I'm considered to be one of the guys that's really cutting edge, because I can actually, load software into a computer and make it work and so on, and understand the ins and outs of most of this stuff. I always tell people, well, it was guys my age who invented the computer and the internet. Come on, give me a break. These are modern tools, just like ancient times we had stone axes, bows and arrows, and so on. Tools are tools are tools are tools, and humans use them. That's one of the things we are, is we are doers. Now, one way we attempt to fill ourselves is by doing, and so we engage in activities. But I think the activities need to be balanced. They need to be balanced between the past, present, and the future. And then we need a little bit of everything here. And so wandering out into the wilderness with a simple backpack, throwing your cell phone away, bringing a knife and maybe some dried food and so on. These are activities that will leave your soul satisfied, that is if you survive them, because they can be somewhat dangerous activities. Getting up early enough to watch the sunrise, for instance, just watching a sunrise. Humans have been watching that sunrise for millions of years, making sure we don't leave the past behind as we head towards the future, that will be a much healthier and happier society if we remember where we came from. At the same time, we're planning where to go. Aloha, happy gardening, have a wonderful day.